at some point you start to run into limitations of funding, yada, 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 right? And so in both those markets, you're going to get market-specific dynamics that are going to drive behavior. Think of the macroeconomics as the overlay that can take everything up and down, and think of the individual market dynamics as kind of a signal on that carrier that can move up and down based on what's going on in the local market.
Yeah. Okay.
That's kind of how that works. When you had a supply chain, did you ever kill a supplier? What would cause you to break a relationship with a supplier downstream?
Repeated quality problems, like 3 quality problems in a row, would kill a supplier.
Yeah.
I thought what was interesting is Merck bought EMD Millipore, and then said for the next 5 years, filters are going to go up 5% to 7% a year on cost.
Yeah. Yep.
Suddenly, every person that we had was validating new filters. Right. So some merger and acquisition on this is going to change our dynamic, and in 5 years we don't want to be paying 25% more for our filters that we already feel like we overpay for.
Yep.
Right, and you and I can do the same thing. Right? Intel and Thermo Fisher do should cost models, and the should cost models, we figure out a filter cost us $14, and we're paying $310 a filter for them, and so much of that you're like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna find
you go put. Typically in the auto business, you just go put somebody in business. You basically go to somebody that you knew, and you say, hey Bob, how'd you like to make 20% margins on this? Here, take it.
Yeah.
Right.
Here are the pads that we can find on it. Here's the pricing. If you can do this, we would like to start ramping you, and we would like you up in a year.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
We think your core competency is plastic injection molding housings, and we think that's a good space. Right.
Well, it certainly seems like if you take the other direction, let's suppose that I'm the owner of a contract manufacturing house and I got some expertise, it seems like there's a couple things to do. It seems like one pathway to growth is just to make sure you're knocking on all the right doors in the particular areas of chemistry that you're in and really making sure you're making the option bets. The other is looking at sort of where you can find adjacent markets where you have enough credibility to get in the door that use your expertise and your equipment, and or buying somebody that has expertise in another adjacent market and using that as a different pathway. So if I'm into, chemical A, this chemistry series, I may go out and find somebody and say, hey, I could expand my business probably profitably by getting a couple chemists that understand chemistry B and that have a couple of relationships that can start to build critical mass around and make us credible in chemical B.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, that's a really.
And I think the other one is there's contract manufacturers as an example that we put filling lines in, and we are doing 2 milliliter filling vials.
Yep.
And we'll get in there and say, okay, we want you to run at 80% capacity, and then the vendor or the contract manufacturer goes, now guys, you dropped down to 50% capacity. Can we use your filling machines for other customers?
Right.
Right. And we're like, as long as you maintain it and keep the PMs up on it, we don't care. Right.
Right.
And that can actually be quite a lucrative because you've got somebody else paying for the equipment. Right.
Right.
Which can be good.
Well, I mean, look, anytime I could do anything with zero capital, even I can make that work, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
All you need to do is labor and put it somewhere that's reasonable, right? So,
right. How important is geographic location for these guys? Does it matter that, I got a plant in Alabama and I'm working with guys in New Jersey? Would they rather work with guys in New Jersey, or does that matter much?
It doesn't matter much.
Okay.
It's odd that it's kind of regional on coasts. Right.
Yeah.
I really don't want to get up and get on a call at 6 a.m. to talk to somebody that's on the East Coast at 9. And the days of waiting for China and stuff like that are kind of over. Right.
Yep.
Nobody's outsourcing there anymore. And
why not? I mean, it's just because there's so much margin in this that and sort of the labor arb from the Chinese just it's not worth it.